Hello and welcome, ambitious English learners, to our advanced podcast space. This is the program where we elevate your language skills by exploring rich narratives, psychological depth, and sophisticated vocabulary. I am your host, Caspian.
And I am Alara. We are absolutely thrilled you have joined us today. In this episode, we are taking a rather delightful detour from our usual abstract discussions. We are going to immerse ourselves in a classic work of literature, Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island. But we're not just telling the story. We're going to dissect it, analyze its themes, and extract a treasure trove of advanced vocabulary that will significantly elevate your linguistic register.
That is a perfect framing, Alara. Stories are not merely entertainment. They are powerful pedagogical tools. They provide context, emotional engagement, and a natural scaffold for memory. When you learn vocabulary within the framework of a compelling narrative, your brain encodes it far more deeply than a simple flashcard ever could. Today, we will explore the plot, the characters, and the moral complexities of this pirate adventure, and we will do so using the nuanced, precise language of a C1, C2 speaker.
So, let's set sail. The story begins in a quiet, unassuming coastal village in England. A young boy named Jim Hawkins lives a mundane life at his mother's inn, the Admiral Benbow. This establishment is a typical maritime tavern, quiet, a bit worn, and frequented by few travelers. That is, until the arrival of a mysterious and rather intimidating figure.
Yes, the old sailor, Billy Bones. He is described as rugged and weather-beaten, with a deep, grotesque scar across his face. He's perpetually in a state of high vigilance, constantly scanning the horizon with his telescope, consumed by a profound sense of paranoia. He's clearly a man on the run, haunted by his past transgressions.
This introduces our first rich lexical theme, the concept of foreboding. Billy exudes an aura of anxiety and secrecy. He bribes Jim with a silver coin to keep an eye out for a one-legged sailor. This is not just a plot device, it's a masterclass in building suspense. We might describe Jim's task as being a lookout, a person assigned to watch for danger or the approach of others.
The tension escalates when a blind beggar, Pew, arrives bearing the infamous black spot. The black spot is a pirate's ultimatum, a tangible symbol of impending doom and judgment. The very sight of it causes Billy to become ashen, a condition known as pallor, a paleness indicating severe shock. He collapses, and we are told his heart gave out. Medically, we might describe this as a fatal arrhythmia induced by extreme psychological trauma, a testament to the power of fear.
Following Billy's demise, Jim and his mother retrieve a parcel from his sea chest. They are seeking the payment for his stay, but they discover a far more significant artifact, a meticulously drawn map. This is no ordinary map. It charts the exact location where the notorious pirate Captain Flint buried his accumulated treasure. This discovery catalyzes the entire adventure.
The map is brought to Dr. Livesey, an intelligent and benevolent physician, and Squire Trelawney, a wealthy, albeit somewhat naive landowner. Together, they form a syndicate to fund an expedition. They charter a vessel, the Hispaniola, and hire a crew. Captain Smollett is appointed as the commander, a man characterized by his stringent adherence to naval discipline and his uncompromising integrity.
The crew, however, is a motley assortment of sailors, and among them is the most memorable character in the entire novel, Long John Silver. Silver is the ship's cook, but he is a man of multifaceted complexity. He is physically disabled, using a crutch due to his missing leg, yet he moves with an astonishing agility. He is charismatic, affable, and possesses a sharp, cunning intellect. He seems to be the model of a helpful sea dog.
This is where Stevenson's genius lies. Silver is the archetypal anti-hero. He's deceptive, manipulative, and utterly ruthless, yet he is also incredibly magnetic. Jim initially holds him in high regard, which makes the subsequent betrayal all the more devastating. Jim, while hiding in an apple barrel, overhears Silver's insidious plan, a mutiny. Silver intends to wait until the treasure is unearthed, then seize control of the ship and abscond with the loot.
This highlights a central theme, the duality of human nature. Silver's charm is a mask for his avarice. The crew is split between the loyalists and the pirates. Upon arriving at the island, the tension explodes into conflict. The loyalists, including Jim, Dr. Livesey, and Captain Smollett, fortify a blockhouse to defend themselves against the mutineers.
However, Jim, in a display of remarkable audacity, leaves the relative safety of the fort to explore the island. He encounters a strange, ragged figure, Ben Gunn. Ben is a former pirate who was marooned on the island 3 years prior by his own shipmates. This experience has rendered him eccentric and disheveled, but fundamentally benevolent. He confesses a monumental secret to Jim. He has already located Flint's treasure and moved it to a cave for safekeeping.
This is a critical turning point. The act of treasure hunting becomes a metaphor for the pursuit of greed. While the pirates are frantically digging for gold that isn't there, the loyalists are negotiating from a position of unexpected strength. Jim also embarks on a daring solo mission to recapture the Hispaniola, which he manages to do by severing the anchor rope and drifting the ship to a safer anchorage, effectively outmaneuvering the pirates.
The climax involves a tense standoff. Silver, realizing his plan is collapsing, attempts to negotiate a truce. He switches sides, seeking clemency, but he's never truly trusted. The pirates, using the map, rush to the marked X and dig frantically, only to find an empty pit. They have been outwitted. Ben Gunn has defeated them through his solitary ingenuity.
The story concludes with the Loyalists loading the vast fortune, a king's ransom of gold, silver, and jewels, onto the Hispaniola. They set sail for England, leaving the remaining pirates stranded. Silver, in a final act of pragmatic deceit, manages to escape with a small bag of coins during the voyage, disappearing into the night, never to be seen again.
Jim returns home not merely as a boy, but as a young man hardened by experience. He has witnessed the devastating consequences of greed, the fragility of loyalty, and the necessity of courage. He has undergone a profound psychological transformation, a classic coming-of-age or Bildungsroman arc. So, Alara, what are the core takeaways from this narrative?
The story cautions us against avarice. It examines the corrupted influence of wealth and the precarious nature of trust. It also celebrates resilience, intelligence, and integrity. But from a linguistic perspective, we must now translate these narrative elements into advanced vocabulary.
An excellent idea. Let's extract the word treasure from our discussion. We will revisit the vocabulary from the source material, but we will elevate it significantly, providing nuanced synonyms and contextual applications. This is how you move from B1 to C1.
Let's begin with the setting. By the sea. We can elevate this to coastal or seaside. For a more literary descriptor, we might use maritime or littoral. Example. The story is set in a quaint maritime village where life revolved around the tides.
Next, the inn. This could be a tavern, hostelry, or establishment. A more sophisticated term for a lodging place is a boarding house. Example, the Admiral Benbow was a modest hostelry, known more for its cheap ale than its hospitality.
The word rough. Instead of simply rough, we can use rugged, weather-beaten, or unkempt. If describing a person, craggy or coarse works well. Example, his face was rugged, etched with deep lines of a life spent battling the elements.
Scar. This is a mutilation, a laceration, or a gash. A permanent mark can be described as a disfigurement. Example, a grotesque gash ran across his cheek, a brutal testament to his violent past.
Nervous. Elevate this to apprehensive, trepidatious, or anxious. If someone is extremely nervous, they might be perturbed or agitated. Example, he was visibly apprehensive, his eyes darting nervously towards the horizon.
Watching for. This is vigilance. To watch carefully is to be vigilant. To scream the sea is to scour the horizon or scan the expanse. Example, he stood on the cliff, scouring the vast expanse of the ocean for any sign of his pursuers.
Keep an eye out. This colloquialism can be transformed into maintain vigilance, be on the lookout, or remain observant. Example, the boy was tasked with remaining vigilant against any approaching strangers.
Pale. We use pallid, ashen, or ghastly. If someone loses color rapidly, they turn white as a sheet. Example, upon seeing the black spot, his face turned an alarming shade of ashen.
Collapse. Use succumb, keel over, or crumple. If it involves fainting, use swoon. Example, the shock was so immense that he succumbed to a fatal collapse.
Heart gave out. We can say succumbed to cardiac arrest, suffered a fatal arrhythmia, or simply perished from the shock. Example, the terror proved too much for his heart, which simply ceased to function.
Adventure. Elevate to expedition, odyssey, quest, or endeavor. Example, they embarked on a perilous expedition across the uncharted seas.
Voyage. This is a maritime journey, a crossing, or a passage. Example, the long passage across the Atlantic was fraught with storms and uncertainty.
Strict. Use stringent, authoritative, or disciplinarian. A strict adherence to rules is rigorous. Example, Captain Smollett was a stern disciplinarian who enforced the stringent regulations of the ship.
Take over. Use usurp command, seize control, or commandeer. Example, the mutineers conspired to usurp command of the vessel from the captain.
Right away. We say immediately, instantly, promptly, or without delay. Example, the orders were to be executed promptly. There was no time for hesitation.
Walked off. Use strode away, departed, ventured off, or disappeared into. Example, ignoring the warnings, Jim strode away into the unknown depths of the forest.
This lexical upgrade is the key to advanced fluency. Now, let's use the story to talk about the broader application of narrative in language learning. Why is this method so effective?
Cognitive science tells us that our brains are wired for stories. We remember narratives far better than decontextualized facts. When you learn a word like foreboding while feeling Jim's anxiety, you attach an emotional weight to that word. It becomes concrete, not abstract.
Additionally, stories expose us to authentic language patterns. You encounter complex sentence structures, passive voice, and subordinate clauses in a natural way. You're internalizing the grammar of the language without even realizing it, a process known as implicit learning.
Absolutely. And by engaging with literature, you are also accessing the cultural and philosophical underpinnings of the English-speaking world. You understand the moral dilemmas, the historical context, and the human condition as expressed through the language.
We encourage you to apply this strategy. Seek out graded readers or classic novels. Read a chapter, listen to an audiobook, and shadow the narrator. Use our lexical upgrades to write summaries of your own. You will be training your brain to think in a more nuanced and sophisticated register.
To synthesize, we have sailed through the narrative of Treasure Island, analyzed its core themes, and excavated a wealth of advanced vocabulary. Our challenge to you is to take 3 of these new words and use them in a sentence about a personal experience of adventure or risk.
We have also prepared a comprehensive PDF companion for this episode, available for download below. It contains the full transcript of this discussion, our lexical guide with synonyms, and a practical worksheet to help you apply these words to your own writing.
We want to hear from you in the comments. What is your favorite classic story, and how has it helped you learn English? Share your thoughts with our community.
If you enjoyed this blend of literature and linguistics, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Your support allows us to keep creating these deep dive episodes.
This has been Caspian and Alara, reminding you that every story holds a lesson, and every lesson holds the key to your linguistic growth. Stay curious, keep reading, and we will see you in the next episode.
Fair winds and following seas, dear learners. Goodbye for now.